this is actually going to be Nightmare's second update for his route, and we're going to chunk it up into a couple different videos because I have quite a few scenes to go over. In between each of the little mini scenes, I will be explaining what I got during my playthrough that I translated. They do repeat and they're on random generations, so like they're not going to match completely for that. But all of the big scenes and like the longer little scenes after the big scenes, like those are all translated word for word through translation apps. And without further ado, here we go. So we're gonna spam Nightmare. So for my playthrough, what I actually got was, basically Nightmare was talking about how, like, did you see gray in the corridor? Well, I went down this cold corridor. How dare you come down here? And then he was like, heck, somehow it's got my back thrilling, like sending a shiver down it. And he's like, Alice, can you measure my body temperature? Put your hand on my forehead and measure it. Then we're spamming him again. He's like, it is cold, too cold. You have to be careful about your physical condition. He's like, because you can't manage your physical condition when you work, it won't be a good story. And he's like, me, I'm fine, I'm great. That's what I got in my playthrough, that spam. I'm gonna spam him again. For my playthrough, I got looking for a watchmaker? No, I don't see. And then he trailed off and he's like, isn't he in the room? And then he's like, I'm determined to sleep a lot in a warm room. And he's like, what? I won't take off that much, because he notices the look that you give him. And then we're gonna spam him again. So for my playthrough, I got, what's the best thing about winter? He was asking her, and then he laughs. He's like, boo-foo-foo. And he's like, it's this white silver snow scene, Alice. And then he's like, look at this majestic. And then he trails off. And then trails off, and it faded out. I'm gonna spam him again. For my playthrough, I got, what are you surprised about? Oh, my clothes were dirty? And then he's like, when I coughed the other day, I like threw up, and he's like, when we meet in the nighttime, does it seem like it's a horror story? He asked her. And he's like, no. And then he's like, surely, I'd be scared if I looked in the mirror. That's what I got my time. Spamming him. And then we spam him again. Well, that right there, he was talking about a break.
仕事なんてしないくせにって？そんなことは。
I believe this when he was talking about like how he wasn't taking too long in breaks.
そんなことないぞ。ないんだ。ないったらない。
But for my playthrough, I got the same one. He's like, why are you surprised? He's like, oh, my clothes were dirty. And he's like, I coughed the last time and threw up when I met you in the nighttime. Like, does it seem like a horror story? And then he's like, surely I'm scared if I look in the mirror myself. We're gonna spam him again.
この前、雪の上で吐血してしまったんだが、あまりにも鮮やかでびっくりしたよ。白と赤のコントラストは秀逸で、ぜひ君にも。見たくない。それもそうか。
So I got a lot of repeats around this time, and it was the one about what's the best thing about winter, boo-hoo-hoo, it's the white silver snow scene, Alice. And then he's like, look at this majestic, and then it fades out. So that was what I got that time. I'm gonna spam him again.
グレイが探していた？君に頼るなんて、あいつもまだまだだな。いいから仕事をしろって？知った風な口を聞いて、私がどんな思いでこんなところに隠れているのか、君にはわかるまい。
My playthrough, I got unusually, the sun seems to be out, and then he like trailed on. He's like, what, would you like to go out? And then it changes, and then he's like, even if the sunshine is strong, the cold has not changed, and the light reflected in the snow just is too defeated. He's like, I'd refrain from it, and then it fades out. That's what I got that spam attempt.
おお、だいぶ雪が積もっているみたいだな。あの中に身を隠せばっていう。寒くて本当に死んでしまうかも。いや、しかしあの中ならグレイをやり過ごせるんじゃ。
My playthrough, I got looking for a watchmaker. No, I don't see. And then trailed off, and he's like, isn't he in the room? And then he's like, I'm determined to sleep a lot in a warm room. And he's like, what? As like the look you give him. He's like, I won't take off that much. And then it fades out. So a lot of repeats. And then we're gonna choose Nightmare again.
おお、だいぶ雪が積もっているみたいだな。あの中に身を隠せばっていう。寒くて本当に死んでしまうかも。いや、しかしあの中ならグレイをやり過ごせるんじゃ。
So what I got that time when I spammed him was he repeated that the last time I threw up in the snow, it was so bright and I was surprised. The contrast between white and red is excellent. Would you like to see it? And then it fades out. Like a lot of these were either in the first part of his route that I had done or like just repeated again during this attempt. Because I hit about 35 total turns.
暖房器具が壊れているぞ。そうだ、私の部屋のだ。グレイは一体どこに行ったんだ。もし見つけたら私が探していたと伝えてくれ。
Alright, and then my attempt was actually Nightmare stating that Gray was looking for me, question mark, and he's like, haha, I'm still far from relying on you, after a pause, and he's like, I'll do my job because I'm nice, and then he trails off, and he's like, you don't know if I've been hiding in this place for a long time, exclamation mark, because she, like, probably gave him a look. We're gonna spam again, and then this might trigger an event, because that's what it did for me. Yep, trigger to the event. Formula's the same, you guys, even with the random generations.
お前までおかしくなったのか。
Julius is asking, did you go and get crazy?
そう言わずに作ってくれ。
And then Gray's like, just make it without saying that.
断る。私はそんなものは作らないからな。縁起でもない。
Julius just tells him, I'm turning it down, I won't make such a thing, it's an auspicious thing.
縁起でもないとは、そこまで言うことはないだろう。
So Gray cuts in again and he's like, it's not good luck, and then trails off, and he's like, I won't say that much.
縁起でもないだろう。ろくでもないぞ。
And then Julius just cuts in again, he's like, I'm not, it's auspicious.
不気味だ。
And he's like, it's creepy, after a long pause.
いいじゃないか。作ってやってくれ。ナイトメア様の像を。
He's like, I think it's okay, like, please make it for Nightmare later, after a long pause.
またダダをこねているのか？
Julius asks him, are you preparing again, ...
いつものことだ。
So he replies, usually, always. Graded. Like the preparations and rehearsals they had to do in the last event that we watched for Nightmare's route. Yeah, he's like accusing them again of doing this.
お前だって不気味だと思うだろう。なんだってあいつの雪像など。
Julius is like, huh, and then a long trail, he's like, you'll think it's creepy, and then he's like, why does it have to be his snow statue, and then trailed off again.
ともかく、作らないことには仕事をしてくださらないと言うんだ。
So he's like, after a long pause, anyway, say that you will make it, because it won't work if you don't make it.
子供かあいつは。
And he's like, what do you mean it won't work?
それもいつものことだ。もう慣れた。
Gray's like, I'm used to it, but you think about it. Because I believe that he was basically saying, like, no one's going to get any work done if you don't do it, and it's not going to work out right. Because Gray actually has, like, an artistic disability, and it would end up being extremely creepy if he tried to make a snow statue of Nightmare. And it would end up being bad luck. So, like, all of these half comments they were doing, it, like, ties into that, and the fact that, like, there's that snow festival they're trying to plan, and one of the things of it is the snow statue that they're talking about.
慣れすぎだお前は。そんなに作りたいのならお前が作れ。
Julius is like, I don't care, like, you are too used to this, you. And then he's like, if you want to have it made that much, then you can just make it.
俺が作ると、それこそ不気味な代物になる。お前ならうまく作れるだろう。
Gray actually comments on the fact that he has an artistic disability. He's like, when I make, and then trailed off. He's like, there's an eerie white monster. And he's like, can you make it, please? Make it well?
うまく作れば作るほど不気味だ。
Julius just digs in. He is like, the better it is then that you make it, the more creepy it is, the better. And then the scene changes.
ということで、俺は時計屋の説得をしなくてはならない。ナイトメア様の方は頼めるか？
So Gray is trailing off here, and he's like, and I must convince the watchmaker, he's telling, like, to everybody, and then she must have asked him, because he's like, did Nightmare-sama ask me to do it, ? And she's like, I think it's quicker to let Nightmare give up making a snow figure than for me to convince Julius, she thinks. And she's like, congratulating him on the attempt to try. And she's like, ... okay. Because I think he's like trying to have her go and convince him now. She gave in. And he also asked her to, like, go wake him up, I believe, because she's over here now, and she's like, Nightmare, that's his name right there, after a trail off. He's just giving sleep noises. And she has no response to this. She's like, what? More sleep noises. She's like, Nightmare, because that's his name. She's like, I feel like I'm going to sleep too with this. And she trailed off in her mind, and she's like, a little. And then she's like, Nightmare, I'm here waking you up. More sleep noises. She's like, get up, after a long pause. And he's releasing protesting sleep noises now. She's like, ... you're staying over there? Exclamation mark question. She's like, hey! I shake him vigorously, with lots of energy. To have no response. And she's like, I'm waking him up. No one in this tower is caught up in his acting. He's like a really bad actor, she comments. She's like this, and then trailed off, worm! Exclamation mark. How many hours have you been sleeping? He has a slight reaction to that. He's like, and he like gurgles. She like shakes him with more force. You're the owner of this tower, she tells him, exclamation mark question. He gurgles because of the force. Just swinging him about doesn't seem to be effective, so I take an elbow and I scattered it with my weight. Nightmare opens his eyes because of the worth of her throw. She, like, body slammed him. She's like, you're not staying curled up here forever. He's like, it's cold, it's bad to be cold. She's like, the bad thing is your weak body and your weaker intention. Get up quickly, she tells him. He's like, I don't want to go out because it's cold. She tells him you won't freeze in the tower. He says, if it freezes, it freezes. She's like, so what am I doing then? I'm not frozen outside of the bed. After a pause, Nightmare actually asks her, do you also want to enter the bed? She's like, what? And he's like, after a pause, in the bed. She's like, what? All caps. He's like, I'll pull you in. Isn't it cold? She's like, I trailed off. She's like, it's fine. I don't freeze when I'm outside of the bed. And he cuts back in. He's like, after a pause, is that so? But I freeze, so I won't come out. She has no response. She's like, this worm, ... Nightmare! Exclamation. Because he reads it. She's like, green caterpillar in her head, ... And then she's calling him all kinds of different worm names. She's like, Hymenoptera, like hookworm, hectology, like hookworm. She keeps repeating now, like ... And Nightmare's just like, shut up. She's like, I wasn't saying anything to you though, question mark. He comments that he can read her mind. He's like, I can hear you and it's noisy. He tells her, I will sleep and I will never get out of this bed. She's like, tell people how to make a snow sculpture or something that they like to do, and then trailed off. She's like, get out of the bed. Gray takes this seriously as an order and tried to convince Julius, and the boss who ordered this was curled up in bed, so she had stormed there. She's like, there is also a stupidity in this. And he's like, I won't get out. After a pause, she's like, so? If you feel like that, you have an idea of what's going on here too. And she's like, I don't want to get Nightmare because the bed is warm. Or she's like, Nightmare doesn't want to get out of the bed because it's warm. And she's like, if the bed gets cold and isn't warm, then you'll have to get up. So she takes it off. She's like, I just wanted to make it cold. And then she sees all the cats surrounding him in bed. She's like, get up, without staying stupid and like saying that stuff forever. And then she noticed them. She's like, what? After a long pause. Nightmare's like, it's cold. What are you doing, Alice? Nightmare's commenting that it was obscene of her to take the futon away from him, and he's like, it's a trick, a trick. The nightmare is noisy, but my eyes are dotted with cats, and it's a nice idea to turn the futons, but the cats are unexpected. She's like, what is this? Exclamation mark question. What's wrong with this? And then she's like, cats, and then trailed off. She's like, the cats are snug, sleeping while getting warm by getting stuck to the nightmare. And you can see that they've completely surrounded him. She's like, since I took the futon, that he has started to get up a little, but some have started to get up a little, but most have shown no sign of moving. Like Nightmare, it seems that they find it difficult to get out of the bed. Nightmare's like, it's cold. Bring the quilt back to the original spot. Cold, cold. And she's just like, no. She's like, if I put the futon back, you'll just curl up again, question mark. And then trails off. Nightmare's commenting that this is persecution. It's bullying. And he's like, huh, you don't think the cats are sad about this? She's like, even if told to add it back because of the cats. She's like, I've come to wake you up. You've been hanging here in the room for hours. It's bad for the cats, but it's force majeure. She's like, I want to wash the seats, and then Gray wants you to work, so you have to get up. And if I have to force you, I will, she means. She's like, hey, are you listening? Don't try sleeping some more. He's like, cold, and then trailed off, and he's like, sleepy, and then trailed off. She's like, Gray is waiting, exclamation mark question. He's like, well, waiting for him, and then trailed off. He's like, wait, exclamation mark. She's like, is this still the boss? It's still a mystery. Why do people like Gray serve such a worm, she thinks. She's like, is it difficult to find a job here? I feel sorry for any inconveniencing circumstances, she thinks. And then he cuts her off because he can read all of this, because she's just thinking it, and he's like, I don't think so, that's not the case, exclamation mark question, like, Gray wants to serve me. He's boasting now, he's like, it's wonderful because he can serve me, question mark, exclamation, he's like, it's an honor, exclamation mark. She's like, yes, your blood pressure though seems to have risen, and people's thoughts don't need to be read, so get up soon. She just cuts him off. No matter how cold it is, isn't there a willingness to put the futon back? She, wonders to him. She's like, I won't do it until you get up. And he just whines here. She's like, please give it up. So what happened to these cats? Why are they here? She trailed off. She's like, this is the upper floor of the tower, and the cats came in from the outside to overcome the cold. She was thinking.
拾ってきたんだ。グレイが。
And he's like, we picked it up, Gray and I. After a long pause. She's like, ... Ah. If it's Gray, I'm satisfied, she thinks. And then he's like, in her mind, he is serious and loves small animals. If you see a small animal trembling in the cold outside, she's like, I too might pick it up. It cannot be overlooked.
私がこういう状態になったのはグレイのせいでもあるんだぞ。
And Nightmare cuts in. He's like, wow, it's because of Gray that you've become like this. And he's talking about her gushing because he can read all of this. Exclamation mark question was attached. She's like, why? ...
寒いから猫で暖を取っていたら暖かくて気持ちよくて布団から出られなくなったんだ。
So in answer to her question about why he has the cats, he's like, because it's cold, and if you're warming up with the cat, it's warm and comfortable. And then he trails off, and he's like, I can't get out of the futon! Exclamation mark. She's just like, Nightmare, and trailed off, because that's his name there.
猫も気持ちよさそうに休んでいる。まどろんでいるやつを起こすのは忍びないだろう。
Nightmare's like, the cats are resting comfortably, and it's hard to wake up a mellow guy.
彼らを凍えさせてはかわいそうだ。だから私も一緒に丸くなって。
He's like, I feel sorry for freezing them, so I'm curled up together with them. She's like, Nightmare.
なんだ？分かったのなら布団を元に戻してくれ。寒い。
He's like, what? What? If you know, then put the futon back. It's cold. She was like, I understand why Gray has asked me to wake up Nightmare. He would return the futon right away, not for Nightmare, but for the lovable cats. She's like, but, and then trailed off. She's like, it's no problem for me to have the futon when I kick out Nightmare. She's like, even without him, the cats can stay asleep. She's like, okay, get up. She's like, I mercilessly kicked the Nightmare off the bed, so that was the thud of her hitting him. Alright, you guys, so we're going to end this video here. Because the next attempts are spamming attempts before we trigger another event that I got you guys. So here we go.